no shit, there I was.
Yes.
I realized that the first stories I told about fighting the army were unusual in that they were glorious moments for Northshield. I find that many of the most interesting stories the fighters tell is of their deaths. And I recall my first woods battle at Pennsic, which was, I think, the first year we were actually a principality, although we were out there fighting the previous year. And on the woods battle, captured the flags out there, and went out with our army, and we hit another unit, and so I died. So being a resurrection battle, I had to walk back, and then went back out and tried to find the Northshield army. There was another fellow with me, a young fellow whose name I forget, but he was dressed as a Roman centurion. So he and I were wandering back out in the woods, having no real good idea where Northshield was, but we knew we were out there someplace. So we're walking along, and we weren't hunting the enemy at that point by any means. Instead, we were just kind of strolling along with our weapons and shield, and there's a group of Eastern Army there, another group there. We're trying to find our own army. Well, we wandered along and realized it's been a long time since we'd seen anybody with our proper colors on their helmet. Everybody around was from the east, but they're kind of ignoring us because we were wandering around, not as though we were getting ready to fight, closer to what you do if you're wandering out of the battle, but we were still wandering in. So we knew that we had been towards this hill that had one of the flags, and that's where Northshield's army was going. Well, as we find out afterwards, they had indeed taken that flag, and then were overwhelmed and killed to a man by a couple of other massive groups. So we're wandering along, we see the flag up on the hill. We look up there, and that's not Northshield. No Northshielders up there at all. Oh, in fact, no, we didn't see the flag, but we did see the army up there that we originally mistook for our own. And we're wandering along, and there's a couple of marshals in the area that go up to us and, do you guys see where you are? Sure. Yeah, we know, we're just looking for our own army. We're just ignoring all these people from the east. And, okay, well, for quite a while they ignored us. But then at some point, somebody up on the hill noticed that there's a couple of mid-realm fighters down in the valley mixed amongst all their people. This was about the same time that we realized that big army up on top was not guarding the flag. Instead, there's a little group of about 12, 15 soldiers just off to our right that were guarding the flag. And we didn't know any of them, but every one of them had a white belt, and almost every one of them had strawberry leaves on their helmets. But we figured, well, we can't find our own armies, so the two of us, both first-year fighters, said, well, we might as well go try to take the flag. Well, we were just about ready to rush at them when these people up on the hill came rushing down the hill. It was a group of about 12 spearmen. And we thought, oh, this could be fun. Each of us with sword and board, and these spearmen were rushing on the hill in the woods. We might be able to work with this. Mm-hmm. So I positioned myself that as they come down, I'd be catching the man on the end, and then could kind of work my way down their backs to kill off as many of the rest of them as I could. Well, all set up, they get within reach, and I go, and there's a tree branch that stopped my sword. At which point I was pummeled with about 5 spear tips and went to the ground. Well, my companion was on the other end of the line. We hadn't discussed it, but he had the same idea. And he lasted for quite a while, killed off quite a few of them before he too was pummeled with about 5 spear tips and went to the ground. So that was one of my favorite deaths at Penzic. Another one that comes to mind was not quite so glorious. It was my first bridge battle. And we had in the front people with the big war shields and people reaching over them with long weapons. Well, I had my small round shield and my bastard sword. It's like, Coach, can I go in? No, they kept on filling the spots with people that were actually appropriately geared for that. Finally, I got a chance, and on the end, we had a big warboard in front, and I was guarding over the top of him with my shield, and I had my sword, and next to me, I had a spearman who was attacking anybody that was coming to hit us. So he gives a mighty thrust, and hip checks me over the hay bale, and I fall into the water and die.
I hate it when that happens.
Fun death.